He is not a man, he is a child. Hey guys, Becca here, and in today's video I thought I would let something out that I've been hiding for quite a long time from you guys. Now I know I said that I would make a video that would explain everything as to why I said I was going to film, and then suddenly I couldn't for about, well, over a year. More or less. This also ties from the birthday tag on how I moved so much. And this video will make everything so clear, and I think you guys deserve to know. And let's face it, when you're a YouTuber, privacy isn't something you get. Here it is. This video is on the serious side. It's nothing funny or whatever. Basically, the reason why I stopped filming is, well, it's involving two certain people. And these people are my mum and my mum's ex-boyfriend, Paul Legg. Basically, when I was living in Bournemouth, where I used to live with my mum, where we were living in my nan's place because we got evicted from our flat. We only got to keep 2 cats out of 4, and those were Flower and Taz. My mum finally found a guy from her friend, who she knew from her friend Linda, I think. I don't know. Basically then, we moved in with him. I carried on with Hartswood, which was my school at the time, but in year 9 we found, this was all during year 9, and during that we found it very difficult to get from Aylesbury to Bournemouth to get me to school. So I had to move in year 9, halfway through, just as my life was getting great. Had a leaving party and everything, which was really good, but it still upsets me still talking about it because I had to leave everything behind so that I could move to Aylesbury. So I started the new school. I was meant to go to John Colet, but turns out they didn't have a placement at that time, but they would let me know. By the time they did, I was already settled into the Grange, which is the school in Aylesbury that I went to. The Grange is basically where I met Joyce, and I found out who the Janoskians were, which is great. Everything seemed to be fine. Obviously I was still upset because I left everything behind. The relationship for my mum and Paul was going great, but then my mum found out that Paul was actually seeing someone at the same time. So he was cheating on my mum. They both didn't know about it. Well, I don't think so. I'm a bit confused in that respect. So basically, he finally dumped her, and my mum obviously was still a bit cautious about him. He was then telling lies here and there. It was making my mum a bit suspicious. Eventually they fought, like as in was having arguments and stuff, and it was very loud and you could hear it. I would always end up coming up in a subject because Paul would refer to me as, oh, the one that can't do anything wrong, the angel, you always defend her. He's the sort of person that never apologises. And me, I prefer people that apologise. We were 2 different people that didn't like each other. We had different points of views and our personalities just clashed. So we never got on. The arguments then turned into something a bit more. They turned into physical. Now at first I would only hear arguments, and then for some reason I heard slight pauses and some gasps of air. To then find my mum crying, running out the room, crying downstairs. I would obviously go down there to comfort her, which Paul thought I was listening in, but because it was a hollow house, you can hear everything. The dick. I then saw red marks on my mum's neck. Turns out he had actually been strangling my mum, and for that, he's such an arsehole. Emma, Richard, if you ever watch this, this is the true story as to what happened, because I'm having a feeling that you would never have been told the truth. My mum wanted to get out after a couple of years, because I had been here for 4 years since, you know, since all this started happening, 3 years since all this started happening, but we couldn't quite get out of it. We didn't have the money to actually move, so my mum had to end up putting up with this just until we could get the money. My mum was searching up houses online and where we could go, and then obviously somehow he found out what we were doing. So this is invasion of privacy. He was obviously going through my mum's computer, phone or something and found out that we were looking at houses. They had a huge argument about it. And yeah, it was stopped. Because my mum convinced him that nothing happened. That it was just in his imagination. I then went to a Janoskians concert with Joyce. As when I came back, obviously, you sing to yourself naturally, I was making some toast. And then I heard arguments upstairs. And then my mum came downstairs and was like, he's complaining, you know, you're being a bit loud, just be a bit more quieter. So I went up to bed. Then, just as I was trying to get to sleep, I heard more arguments. Then I heard a slam on the door. And I heard nothing. I assumed that he was strangling her again, in which I assumed I was right. I was about to jump out. I jumped out my bed, was halfway down the hallway, and then I heard them arguing again. So I was about to burst in the door and practically ready to kill him. I went back into bed. The next thing I know, Mum was running downstairs crying. He was threatening to call the police. Then I was in the front room. I could see something was coming. I was texting Joyce because I needed to tell her what was happening just in case something happened, so that me and my mum would have a place to go. He comes in and starts shouting at me, saying, "Oh, what, you tweeting all this?" He then pushes my mum up against the wall and starts strangling her. My mum was, when you try to defend yourself getting strangled, you sort of just, like, scratch away. She cut his nose, there was a tiny little scratch mark on his nose. He was bleeding a tiny bit. I'm not trying to say, like, exaggerate, like, or de-exaggerate or whatever you call it, making it sound good, because generally was a little scratch. He called the police on us. The police came. He said, "Oh well, you know, it's always the guys that get into trouble. It's never the girls that attack the guys." But when they came in, all they could see is my mum crying in the corner and me comforting her. And that's a clear sign. And she had red marks around her neck and stuff. That kind of says something. We got kicked out of the house. I only had 2-3 hours to clear out our stuff one of the days. But before this, we got a bag. Thankfully, Joyce was still awake, and I got to spend the night at Joyce's. Mum gave a statement. I was going to give a statement, but because I didn't actually see anything, I couldn't. After Joyce's, we then moved and spent the night at the Premier Inn that my aunt paid for a night, because we still didn't have anywhere to sleep. From the council, they told us to go to a B&B, and they would pay for it, which is a B&B in Slough. Now, as some of you know, that Slough's isn't a great place. And the B&B didn't even have a working microwave properly, didn't have a working kettle, everything was filthy and the beds were squeaky, and how somebody could live in that and how that was a 5-star place is beyond me, because nobody should live in that state. We spent one night in there, and then my mum was fighting and fighting all while I was at college, and I was trying to do my coursework and performances, and it was hard, but I came out with a distinction, which I'm pretty proud of. Like, we had to spend the night at my nan's place, who had passed away. So we had to sleep in her bed, which was kind of hard, but for me, well, it was hard for my mum, because it was her mum. For me, yes, it was hard, but it brought back loads and loads of memories of the good times when I used to sleep with my nan, and she used to tell me stories as a kid, and whenever I used to sleep around hers. A couple of days down the line, yes, they finally sorted out a place for us in the lodge in Aylesbury. That we stayed there for quite a long time, through Christmas and everything, without the cats, and being without my cats was really hard. We couldn't be placed into a lodge or anywhere unless we were identified as homeless. When we were identified as homeless, they sent us to the lodge. Now, usually in Tesco's, you see those places or those little boxes that they say, oh, donate food to these people, and homeless people get it and whatever. That food went to us. That food usually goes to people that was in my mum's situation, and yeah. We spent quite a long time there, and finally we got a house which was here. This house is brilliant, and now I've got my cats back. I have Simba now as a new member of the family, and everything's working out for us. Although he keeps messaging us, but yeah. I tell you what, when I used to have arguments before all this happened, he used to have a go at us for throwing a tennis ball in his garden in case we broke the windows, and I was like, just because you had no childhood. And I was really horrible to him and stuff, and he didn't like me, as I said, and he didn't like me. I didn't like him and he didn't like me. I used to hit him quite a lot actually, like punch him and kick him and stuff. Even in my dreams now, I still hit him, and it's just like for revenge. But I'm glad that I did that because of what he did to my mum. He is a dick. He is not a man. He is a child. He needs to sort out his shit because even his own children don't like him. He's tried to cut himself apparently because his ex-wife cheated on him, but no. I think that was out of self-defense. She got a knife and out of self-defense because he was doing something to her. And that's what I'll continue to believe. Okay guys, so I'm sorry this was a depressing video, but you guys wanted an explanation as to what the whole thing, as to what was happening with me, like, for that time that I said I was going to film on, didn't. That's the reason why, and that's also the reason why I said a lot changed since my last birthday to this birthday. Again, thanks for watching guys. If you liked it, or if you maybe relate, or if your mum or your family members ever been abused, then know that I'm here and I will help you get through it. Just email me. But if you also have any problems at all or with anything, again, email me or message me or whatever. I'm here for you. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe down below for more videos, and I will see you guys in a cheerier video.